Hey, Crown Council, and welcome to the Crown Council live stream. I am Stuart Anderson, your host today. Grateful to be with you. Thankful for our weekly program here where we connect with some of our Crown Council resource partners, Crown Council team members, Crown Council doctors, and everything that's going on around the Crown Council. And grateful for this incredible community and our opportunity to be together. I'm going to share my screen for just a minute along with my sound. You're looking at my screen here at crowncouncil.com. If you go to my directory, super accessible to all Crown Council members, although your directory might look a little different than mine. If we click here on the Premium Member Hub, this is for all members who are part of Crown Council. You'll see some of our newest and latest content that's available to you. We have a new skill of the week every week that you can use as a doctor or a team member to train your team on different skills. We also uploaded a brand new powerful team meeting, your personal and professional soundtrack. This is a longer meeting that you can do with your team members, 10 minutes with some action items, a downloadable exercise, something fun to talk about your own personal culture and what soundtracks are playing over and over again inside your dental practice. So don't miss out on the content that's available there. We also did a live webinar last week with Steve and Pam. Grateful for our Stop Cancellations webinar, and 1 hour of CE credit is available for you there. Some incredible advice here about mistakes that are being made in the dental practice when it comes to inviting patients and communicating with patients and reaffirming with patients they're coming to the practice. So a great webinar here that we encourage everybody to watch and rewatch. We are in the middle of Smiles for Life. We're grateful for all of the donations and the incredible amount of charity and service that's being given. Our partners, Ultradent, we're so grateful for them and all the whitening that they are supplying to Crown Council members and offices each week. Some of our top offices last week, look at some of these donations. Offices over 15,000, Alan Thomas, White Family Dental, Just for Grins, just a few $100s away. But what an incredible amount. Every year when we do Smiles for Life whitening, this is such a fun thing to look at and to watch as our practices in the Crown Council and Smiles for Life whitening donate patients, team members, and our incredible partnership with Ultradent. So thank you very much. We love to recognize and see these top offices. Every office, I mean, we've got hundreds of practices that are participating. So thank you for being part of Smiles for Life whitening. We've got some great guests today in the live stream. Our first, on Monday, we've got a new little practice where we send out a little questionnaire to the membership and ask you to talk about a few things that we're hearing. This week, we respond on by PCI compliance, credit card processing fees. Do we pass those fees along to our patients? Do we take care of them? So we asked our resource partner Clearant to come on and talk about kind of the top 10 things that are happening when it comes to credit card processing. And we spend about 30-40 minutes with them going through those top 10 questions that came from the membership and some of the things that we're hearing from you. So that interview is first. Enjoy this interview with them, with our partners from Clearant, as well as the action item to connect with them on crowncouncil.com and reach out with any questions to Clearant that you have about your own credit card processing. Thanks. All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Crown Council live stream. I am Stuart Anderson. This is a recorded segment, so we're not live, but it's okay. It's just the day before. So we have the team from Clearant. Would you guys both introduce yourselves, where you're from, and where you're broadcasting from, and your names and what you do for Clearant? You go ahead. Joe, why don't you go first?
All right. I'm Joe Radin. Been with the company for almost 9 years. I am the team lead North America. That's my title. Basically, supervisor role of our inside sales team. And my manager is also with us. It's Carlos right here. But I'm coming from Phoenix. We're broadcasting out of.
Nice. Cool. How about you,
All
Carlos?
righty. I am Carlos Estevez. I've been with Clearant for about 7 years. I've been in the industry for over 30 years. I would say I look at it in three different decades: operational leadership management for about 10 years at First Data, then moved into sales, managing sales teams, And then the last 10 years, I would say I was more into like a sales support, which is a combination of both operational and sales support, supporting the sales team.
Very good.
Right now, I manage the inside sales account executives here at Clarent.
Very good. And if we were to get in the elevator together, Joe, and I would say, "Hey, Joe, what does Clearant do? What are you guys? Can you guys give me a big 1 minute, 30,000 foot view of if I'm a dentist and we are in the elevator together, what would you say?"
Yeah, absolutely. We are a payment processing company. So I know a lot of business owners, when you kind of even hear that term, you almost go, yeah, I don't know. These guys, those are the guys that take all of our money. No, no, no. It's not like that at all. We promise you. But we do payment processing. We aim to integrate into more software and bring more product and value to the partners that we work with. So our merchants, our ISV, which is integrated software vendors, partnerships that we just have relationships with, like yourself, where we go a step beyond and actually educate people on the industry. Because let's be honest, it is confusing if you haven't worked in it for as long as I have. And even sometimes I hear things that I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that. And I've been in this for 9 years. It's ever changing. So it's something you need to stay on top of. So we really want to make sure that everyone's informed, they're going about this well, and they know what's going on. That the transparency, that's our core value. That's what I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah, and I agree. When we were together 2 weeks ago, kind of planning what we would talk about, you guys said that word a few times, transparency. And if you go to Clearance website, it is right there on the main page. There are three main missions, and one of them, the second one, is complete transparency through the life of their partnership, which I think I don't know if I think that's turning a new leaf in this world. Complete transparency, when most of the questions that came to me this week from Crown Council members talked about hidden fees, hidden whatever is happening behind the scenes when it comes to credit card processing. So it's refreshing. I also did a little research behind our partnership. We have been, you guys have been resource partners for, you are the fourth oldest Crown Council resource partner that is a member of this group. And I know Clearant, you might not have always been known as Clearant, but our relationship goes back almost 16 years. So it's we're grateful for you, thankful to be. This is something that every Crown Council office uses. There's no way, no one's accepting gold only. Like there's no one that's accepting cash only. So very fun to be able to talk to you guys today and work through a few questions that will hopefully educate Crown Council members. So maybe, Carlos, can we do the first question to you and talk about what is actually, in your opinion, happening behind the scenes when a patient swipes that credit card or taps a credit card in the dental office? Can you walk us through that?
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks.
Happy to. So basically, the terminal communicates to the card issuing bank, so the bank that issued that credit card, who then verifies that the funds are available and places a hold on the transaction amount, so called an authorization. The terminal then retains that data and captures it as a transaction. And then the terminal creates what's called a settlement batch, which is basically taking all the transactions and bundling, creating like a bundle. And then the system, we set the time for the settlement to happen. Depending on the type of business, if they want to close at a later date. We do close up to 11 p.m. Eastern time, which is really one of the most, I think, in my experience, one of the latest times that I've seen. Typically, it's about 9 p.m. So we take it all the way to 11 p.m. And what that means is that we would settle automatically your batch, which we then send automatically an ACH to the bank account on record. So it all happens basically through the terminal, where the terminal is smart enough to authorize it, capture it, settle it, and fund it.
Okay, very good. I don't know how you guys can fight over which questions who gets what, or you can each chime in on either. But most of the questions that came to me from Crown Council members are talking about different types of fees that practices are typically charged through credit cards. So maybe, Joe, will you talk about that? What should they be looking out for on statements, and when it comes to fees, like how does this work through processing? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, there's certainly quite a few. There's a number of different plans. The main three are going to be these. So you're going to have a flat rate, you're going to have a tiered, and then you're going to have an interchange plus plan. So those are the most common ones that you'll often see with processors. So flat rate, that one's pretty self-explanatory. Whatever that processor has told you, let's just say, generally speaking, those tend to be somewhere around like 3% and some change per transaction. That's what it is. So they're factoring in the interchange costs, and this is how all payment plans work. So interchange, just to define that for us all, those are the fees from Visa, MasterCard, Discover,
Okay.
American
Yeah.
Express. So we actually pass that right along to the providers. We're fighting over fractions of a percentage. All the processors essentially is what we do. So on that flat rate plan, they're factoring in interchange as well as, of course, a little something for the processor to earn off of that as well. Now, tiered, it can vary quite a bit. So most simply, most of them are structured this way, where it's a card present and then a card not present. So this
Okay.
might be just to throw a familiar name out there potentially. This would be like a Square plan. So Square, they often have a flat rate for any card present transactions, and then for card not present, they bump it up because, of course, interchange goes up whenever you do a card not present transaction.
Okay.
Lastly, interchange plus. So this plan, in our opinion, is always going to be the most transparent. It's also simultaneously probably the most confusing from the merchant side because you just never truly know what someone is paying with, right? I could walk in with an American Express and that could be, 2.5 to 3% in interchange alone, or I could pay with my debit card, which is going to be, you know, basically 0.5%, generally
Mm.
speaking. So those cards, that plan's the most transparent because we charge exactly what Visa. And here's another thing about Clearant: we're transparent. We never pad our interchange ever. We're just direct. This is what they told us it is. We're passing that along, and the merchant's paying for that, of course, but that's their fee. We don't mark it up. Our fee is going to be clearly detailed in each statement. That's another thing about our transparency. So there's a section called processing fees. And in that section, you'll actually see what's notated as the discount rate. So completely separate from the interchange rates, that discount rate will be at the bottom. And that is exactly what we're charging you on top of your interchange costs. So
Very good. Okay. Carlos, did he miss anything?
Yes, I'd like to add, he didn't miss anything. I just wanted to add to it. No, that's exactly flat interchange or tier pricing. In addition to those fees, sometimes you'll see monthly fees, sometimes PCI fees, right? Authorization fees. And sometimes also the card brands will charge annual fees that are not necessarily in every statement, but they'll show up maybe once a year, twice a year. All part of interchange, but again, it will differ a little bit depending on how that account is set up. So you can see some monthly fees, and again, authorization fees, and PCI type fees, etc.
Very good. Okay. Now, you guys are at the cutting edge of this. You're, front runners when it comes to changes that are happening over the last, let's say, 5 years. What is happening? How is your business evolving? And more importantly, what should dentists be watching for? What can office managers be seeing that you guys are seeing? What things have changed or evolved in the last 5 years, and what can practices be prepared for moving forward?
I'll take it.
Okay.
I will say, first and foremost, to ensure that they check their statements on a monthly basis and that they reconcile. What I have found in the past is that a lot of merchants don't even look at their statement. And then let's say they look at it 6 months from now and they've noticed that there's an error, a processing error or a fee that needed to be rectified. So a lot of merchants just don't even look at their statement. So I would say review your statement, make sure that there's accuracy behind the processing fees being posted. Any exceptions to that rule then should be brought up for correction. Okay. Another thing that I think has evolved significantly in the last decade, especially, is really our terminals, credit card terminals, point of sales, right? Our point of sales, our standalone terminals are considered smart terminals now, so they can do a variety of different things, not just, dipping, chipping, swiping the card, but it can also help you with, some sort of management if you want to manage patients or inventory. It also helps with like retaining card on files for future billing. And also, if you want to do recurring billing, in other words, setting up, a customer to pay on a monthly basis for whatever amount. Text to pay, very big now, where you submit with your appointment or with your, at the end of the process, to just send a text to pay for the cardholder to be able to pay right online. And that text to pay can also be embedded in like a website, right?
Okay.
So if you want a consumer to go and pay right online, that can also be added. So I think a lot of it is just automating the process to be able to do it better, faster, but with better equipment and better solutions that help the business in general.
Nice. Joe, anything to add there? Is a big kind of a big question.
Yeah, I'd say, and I'm sure we're going to get into it in a little, but another big trend is programs such as surcharging or, the cash discount or dual pricing, which, yeah, we'll just leave that one there because I'm sure we'll probably get into that later.
Okay. So when I go to my dental practice, like I don't even, I am in the dental chair, right? So the way this works for me is I'm sitting at the end of my hygiene appointment. I don't go check out at a front desk. I don't like go visit someone at the front. I'm literally sitting at my chair, and my hygienist says, "How would you like to pay today?" And I just tapped my card on a mobile processing system, and my charge went through. Um, is that the norm? Is contactless payment, mobile payment? You know, I I loved it. I took care of all the financial right there while I was sitting with my hygienist. Is that what you guys are seeing? Is kind of a what's the norm in dentistry when it comes to how are people paying?
I
Yeah.
would say, to be frank, that's not the norm for dentistry. Okay.
Mhm.
However, terminals can actually be wireless, right? So
Mm.
if you actually need that smart terminal that I was speaking about, that terminal could be literally wireless. So
Yeah.
you use it through Wi-Fi and wireless. And if you want to take it to, the dentist chair there and make your payment, you can. Um, but I don't, in dentistry, typically you go and you check out, right? At a counter, and then you make your payment. But
Yeah.
if that's something that they'd like to do, the terminal can do that. Terminal
Okay.
can be a wireless terminal, charge it up at night. It connected to the Wi-Fi, and you can take it to that patient at the end of their appointment.
Yeah. Don't let them out of the chair till they pay. That's it.
Well, they don't let you out. Stu,
Yeah.
I just had a dental appointment this morning. Believe it or not, I had a
Yeah.
cleaning. They
Yeah.
don't let you out anyway. Sir, you have an invoice. I'm like, I have insurance. It doesn't matter. You still have a copay.
Nice. A hot button that I was asked a few times through the email network is PCI compliance. Can we talk about that, Joe? That's kind of like a word that I don't know. I mean, I didn't really know what it meant for a while. Can you just explain what that means and why PCI compliance, what it is, and why that's important to dental practices?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, PCI stands for Payment Card Industry. And really, if they are a reputable processor, you need to be certified with the DSS, so Data Security Standards,
Mm,
or the PCI Council. So PCI DSS, and that's all together. From your guys' point of view, what that basically translates to is, and we actually use a company, they're called Iperia, but you'll see them known as Data Guardian. So two things. We're validating that the environment that you're processing your transactions are in is going to be secure, of course.
okay.
And then in addition to that, there is a data guardian fee in our accounts, which gets attributed to a data breach program. So if you ever were in an instance where there was a data breach, heaven forbid, of course, you do have coverage up to $100,000 with that plan. So, and that comes with all our accounts. And the purpose of getting secured, it is, to just show to Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, all of them, that not only are you taking their cards, but you're handling your business in a secure, appropriate manner. And of course, if you are not doing that, there is indeed a penalty fee. Now, a lot of processors, going back to transparency, will just let you rack up that monthly fee year and year after end. However, when you log into the Clearant portal, one of the very first things at the top you'll see is your PCI status. So you can always see immediately, am I in compliance right now or am I not in compliance? And if you are not, then you're getting billed that monthly fee just from logging in 2 seconds. You don't even have to click anything. You just log in. Because other companies, like I was saying, unfortunately, they'll just let you rack in that penalty cost. So I'd say
Can I
that's
add a little to it?
Yeah, go.
So let me, PCI, it stands for Payment Card Industry, and he mentioned DSS, Data Security Standards. So basically what PCI is, it's to protect consumer identity theft. That's all that it is, right? You want to make sure that whatever card information is being processed, transmitted, that it's not reflecting in any of the terminals, the POSs anywhere, right? Which is one of the things that we do very well. We do what's called point-to-point encryption. What that means is our systems automatically, when they send the transaction back to that merchant as an authorization, it will be truncated, meaning that they will only see the last 4 or 6 digits. So our P2PE solution is a very simple PCI, what they call SAQ, self-assessment questionnaire, because it's all P2PE. There are PCI SAQs that sometimes have more than 100 questions. So ours, again, because of the nature of how we process transactions, it's a very quick PCI SAQ. And to Joe's point, you do it right through the portal. You have to go anywhere else. You click on it, you open up the tile, you answer your questions, you're done. Very simple. Where in other cases I've seen where you have to call the third-party company, take information over the phone, etc. So we make it very simple for merchants to just go into our merchant portal and be able to just do their PCI to prevent any penalties that are billed accordingly.
Very good. Yeah, no one wants to be hit with fees for every credit card transaction that's not secure. That would be a disaster.
The data breach, you guys, it's $150,000 now, Joe.
Oh,
yeah,
we upped it.
They upped it. Yeah, so it's $150,000 now. Any breaches up to $150,000.
So one beauty of Resource Partners is, you guys are interacting with a certain business, right? And the doctors, they only get one experience with chart, right? They're not like out researching and learning, and so if you were talking to a doctor, right? If you were at dinner and you got to talk, and they said, "Hey, will you review my account? Will you review the things that my statement?" What kind of advice? What are you looking for? What would you tell a doctor to help save them some time, money, frustration, things that are going on in this industry that you guys are aware of that you would give advice on when it comes to reading a statement, or just even what am I doing? What is my processor doing? What would you say?
I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we do, which is really important, I think, is to do a pricing analysis. Okay. Right, and we do that. In fact, I have an individual finance guy that handles basically all of our pricing analysis for my team today. Okay. What we do is we take the existing statement on the existing processor and do a comprehensive analysis to show them the difference on what you're paying. So what it does, and it kind of teaches them, the merchant, is all the different fee types that they're paying, right? Because a lot of times they only look at the bottom line, but there's fees here that you're being assessed that may not be necessary or that we don't bill. So savings, 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 right? Aside from that, I would say one of the things that if you're not going to interchange plus pricing structure, I think it's important to make sure that the staff has been trained to follow the protocols to really, because you can save on interchange. There are ways where if you follow certain protocols while processing that transaction, you can also save on interchange. For example, if the card is present, right, at the point of sale, why are you keying it in? It's a higher interchange. Well, clerks are very accustomed to doing that because it's very simple. They don't have to, they'll just go ahead and key it in, they're done and run away, right? But that is a much higher interchange fee. It could be as high as an additional 50 basis points. It's quite significant. So making sure that, the staff is following whatever protocols are important, to not only protect them from risks, chargebacks, right? But also to, see a reduction in their processing fees when you're doing card present. So there's a difference. Authorization, card present, because interchange fluctuates also according to the card type, right? So interchange, it's based on multiple components. The card type you can control. Like, for example, when I say card type, rewards card carries a higher interchange, right? You would say, well, why? Because guess who pays for the rewards? The merchant, right? So a rewards card versus a consumer standard card is a lower interchange. Amex, for example, just in general, the Amex interchange is higher than the norm on the bank cards side. So again, I think educating someone to understand that there are things that you can do internally to really ensure that you're following certain protocols to minimize, the assessment of fees.
Great advice. Joe, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, and learning to read your statements, I think, is super important. Now, I do know, because we do look at them every day, that some processors out there do not make it easy to do that.
Right.
There's some where they have it almost, well, they do. They have the interchange and what they charge intertwined. There's some where they pad their interchange, so it's, well, for lack of a better term, we'll call it what it is. It's a little deceitful, where you would never know that you're actually paying more than what you should be paying on interchange. So in that instance, use our analyst if you believe that to be the case. However, if you can learn to read your statements, you'll catch on to certain things that are charged, right? Like, let's just use an example of a risk assessment fee. You kind of hear that and it sounds official, but more often than not, maybe they have a good explanation for it, but I'll tell you this, we don't charge risk assessment fees. So that could potentially just be anything from an upcharge on their security practices to just an upcharge, period. Other charges like the PCI non-compliance, right? Always have someone in your office at minimum to review your statements, like we've been saying a few times now, because if you just let this thing go, I mean, the industry, unfortunately, they're going to raise those rates over time. So if you're not staying on top of it, they will take advantage of that and they will raise their rates. They're supposed to give you a 30-day notice. Here's a tip for you all. They give you a 30-day notice of when they're supposed to do an increase, and often they're going to put that at the bottom of their statements. So always be on the lookout on all of your statements just for that purpose, if not anything else. That way you know that there is a rate increase coming. That way you can either shop around or possibly try and fight that increase if it's coming.
Nice. Great advice. Very good. We alluded to this at the beginning, which was, we've heard, and this is one of the questions I've got from a few Crown Counsel offices. So thank you for responding on the email network. That some businesses, maybe outside of the dental industry, have started to add surcharges or pass on the fees. Can dental offices do, what are you guys seeing? What would you recommend? Can you explain that idea? Like, businesses adding credit card surcharges or passing on fees. Can you talk about that in the dental office and maybe your own opinion? Should they be doing that?
Yeah. There's a lot to go into here, so we could probably take up a whole hour because there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of specific situations. There's state laws that come into play. But just to keep it simple, let's just talk at large what surcharge is. Now, in we have our whole book of business that does plans like this. It's called Empower because we're empowering our merchants to reinvest money into their practices, into their businesses, whatever they do, right? So with Empower, we have surcharging, we have cash discount or dual pricing is what it's called, and then service fees. Service fees only applicable to government entities, so that one's already off the table. But the other two options we have here, it's surcharging and dual pricing. So surcharging is very simple in terms of compliance bandwidth on the merchants. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot for you guys to do in order to be compliant with that program beyond just posting some signage, which by the way, we provide you for free if you were to do that plan. But the way that it functions on the back end, you can think of it like this. Often we'll put someone, say, at 3.25%, and then the customers are going to actually pay 3% of that. And so you're only paying that 0.25% per transaction. That's the difference at that point.
Got it.
So here's the downside to surcharging, however, is someone pays with a debit card, there is no cover for that. We actually legally cannot assess that fee. So that then is 1.5% against the business essentially. But that's because we legally cannot surcharge a debit card. Now, on the back end, we sort all of that ourselves. So that wouldn't even be a situation that you would need to worry about if you're doing surcharging. But the terminal will sort it and our networks will catch on what's a debit card, what's a credit card, and actually process accordingly to that. So with the terminal, exactly that. It adds that fee on top. So let's just use $100 for ease of math. Someone goes to make a payment for $100. Now it's going to become $103. We'll then deposit it into the account, that difference minus that 0.25%. So I guess that would be roughly 99, 75 cents roughly. So we'll deposit that into the account, and that offsets your merchant costs relatively completely. Now, debit cards, there's still that fee, of course, but the 3% covers all of the credit cards, which makes up the bulk of your processing account anyways. Dual pricing, what's nice about them, now it does require some more compliance requirements from the merchant, meaning anytime you have this shouldn't be too common with dentists, but bad customers for this would be like a retail shop. Here's why. If you're a real retail shop, you actually have to list out the price for what someone would pay with cash and what someone would pay with card. So
I've seen
anywhere
that.
you have a menu, yeah, exactly. You've
Yeah.
probably seen it out there. Anywhere you have a menu, it would have to have both. And that's how you're compliant to do that type of program. And even on flyers, anywhere you send it out, anywhere pricing is listed, always has to have that on your receipts. When you get your credit card payment receipt, it's actually going to list that as well. So those type of plans require a little bit more security from the merchant side of things, but both are eligible to you guys. I think that both are designed to, obviously, like the name of our program, it's empower the merchants. For years, this blew my mind when I first started. Every time I swipe a card anywhere I go, that business owner is paying for my benefits. I had no clue until I started working in this industry that that's how it worked. And nowadays, I never even really have cash on me too. So here's the other thing, getting back to the market of it, market point. I never have cash on me. If someone says, here's a surcharge that you have to pay for paying with card, all right, buddy, here you go, take it, and I even know what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm just like, all right, whatever. I don't have cash. I don't have a choice. So I know I'm pretty easy going with that. But if someone does make a big deal about it, they can go and get cash or make an ACH payment, which, by the way, we do offer ACH payments through our third-party partner, Nuvei, or Paya, you may know them as. And so that is an option as well. So if someone makes a big deal about, hey, I don't want to pay that surcharge or that upcharge. Okay, well, do cash, do check, and everybody's happy then.
Right. Very good. Cool. Carlos, anything to add?
Yes, very common practice in the service field, very common. We have many. So, consumers are very accustomed to it, if you will, that, if you're getting some sort of a service, there's going to be a surcharge associated with it. It is capped at 3%. Okay. So again, dental office would be a very common practice. It's a service. The other thing is, you could conceivably bypass it if you don't want to charge Stu because he's our VP of the member council. You can bypass it and you can then absorb the cost. So if you have, let's say, a certain patient that you don't want to bill the 3%, you can bypass it and you just pay for it as a merchant. So you have, you also have a chance to decide if that's something you want to impose on a consumer or if you want to just eat it at that point. So,
yeah.
But yeah, very common practice, very, very common, especially in service, service fields and just any type of service.
Very good. Hey, I have, I'm going to share my screen here for 1 second. This is the landing page, custom landing page that you guys have built for us.
Yep.
That Crown Council members can go to. Is this the best place for us to interact? If a Crown Council member is watching this and wants to interact with you, is this where we're going to send them?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's we like that because what it does, it automatically creates a lead for us on Salesforce. So it sends all the information to us. It automatically creates a lead, so you just can't lose that email that's coming in. And then we have a process in place where it gets assigned to an account executive all throughout the day. So a lot of logic in the system. And then our goal is to contact that that business owner same day.
Very good.
If at all possible.
I know that the major concern often is the access to you. When a Crown Council member wants to talk to you, it's usually not because things are going great. They are having a problem immediately with some sort of charging system. And that is why I am grateful for you, is Joe, and your access to the membership and your willingness to connect with Crown Council members and engage with them from a customer service standpoint. So very grateful for that part of our relationship. That's back on the Crown Council landing page, custom page for Clearant when you're on crowncouncil.com. Very easy to find. But as we wrap up, both of you, any other advice or things that you would want to leave with the dental team as we wrap up? Final parting words, Joe, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'd say, whether you guys reach out to us, and even if you want, let me just say this too, even if you just want to get like a crash course on processing, feel free to reach out.
Okay.
We'd love to spend that time with you and help educate you guys on the service and what it is, and kind of fill in that, bring some light to the darkness that is processing. So help you understand it, make sense of it. But most importantly, whether you go with us or you kind of feel comfortable where you're at, stay on top of your statements, because like we were saying, and we've said it multiple times now, processors will increase rates over time. So if I could leave you guys with anything, just keep that in mind. Don't let that be something where it could be like when you get the mail. I do this, so I'm going to put myself on blast right now. Yeah, all right. My wife gets on me for this all the time. Here's all my letters that I just got out of the mailbox. I just throw them on our kitchen table, and then all of a sudden there's a big pile of them, and she's like, "When are you going to go through those?" And then I finally do. Oh, just throw it all out. But that type of scenario. Don't let it become one thing that you just forget about. Those statements are generated once a month. So hey, just once a month, pop in there and take a look at it, see what's going on. That way you are informed, at least with your current provider, how to move from there.
Great advice. Very good. Carlos, any other final parting words?
Yeah, the last thing I want to mention is that we also have an online tool for merchants that will provide all of the transaction data, real time authorizations, all of their batches. They can actually resend receipts if necessary. Also, they can actually manage chargebacks online. It's a great feature that we have, which other processors don't have. If you get an incoming chargeback on a dispute, you can work it right online. We also provide, obviously, online statements, your 1099 for the IRS reporting purposes. And from there, you will have access to our virtual terminal. We use that as a backup. If let's say your credit card terminal is down, you can always go to the VT and continue processing. So that you don't lose any business. So we have a really robust, what we call merchant portal that really provides the PCI that we talked about. You can change your bank accounts on there. So really, it's a really, really strong system that that merchants, can use to reconcile daily, basically, and get all their information in one place.
Very good. Well, I'm grateful for our partnership. Thankful that you guys are a resource. Not vendors, but partners with our Crown Counsel clients. And I'm thankful for time spent today. And then, Joe, your willingness to spend more time with anybody that needs some further education. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Grateful to connect today. Thanks for being on the live stream.
All right. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay, our final segment is with team member Jennifer Price. We're grateful for Jennifer, who comes from Dr. Karen Williamson's practice. This is a team member that enjoyed our leadership academy, and she shares her experience and things that she learned, as well as some advice with the rest of the Crown Counsel and team members. So grateful for Jennifer. Hopefully you enjoyed this segment with her. When it's over, that will be the end of our live stream, and we will see you next week. Grateful to have you join us today, and thankful for all those that participated. All right, welcome to the show. I'm Stuart Anderson. Welcome, Jennifer Price. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi.
She's coming to us from Dr. Karen Williamson's practice. Grateful that she'd meet with us. Hey, Karen was at the Leadership Academy a couple weeks ago, and the whole TOPS team came back. And when they reported on Leadership Academy, they said, we did a mastermind segment with some hygienists. There were 4 of you. And they said it was the most worthwhile, coolest part of what everybody learned. So I said, okay, here we go. We got to get them on the show to make sure everybody learns. So welcome, Jennifer. Glad you joined us.
Glad to be here.
So I've got your little bio from the website. You mind if I'll just run through it real quick, and then you can fill in any missing spots?
You can.
Okay, so Jennifer has 20 plus years of dental experience, started working in the industry at age 17 with the North Mesquite High School Co-op program. She worked as a chairside assistant for 14 years before deciding to take her dental career to the next level and pursue her dental hygiene license. She graduated from Concord. Is that how I say it?
Mm-hmm. That's
Concord
correct.
Career College in January of 2014 with an associate's degree in dental hygiene. She met the love of her life her senior year in high school, and they've been inseparable ever since. That's a good shout out. They have 2 very talented sons, Jaden and Jackson. She loves to spend her free time just being with her family, no matter what they are up to. She has a true passion for dentistry and continuing education, and loves to help her patients achieve a healthy smile. And I would add, when I asked Jennifer to be on this, there was no hesitation. She responded instantly and said she'd love to be on. So thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
What did I miss in your bio? What did you leave out? Anything good?
That is a very old bio, actually. This year is 25 years in dentistry. Okay. So yeah. And then my oldest son just graduated from Navarro College. So yeah, nice. We got a lot going.
You got to update that website.
I do.
Very cool. Hey, well, I would love to hear this story of how you got started in dentistry, and then that sounds like a really fun story. Like how did that start in high school, and how did it transform?
Gosh, well, I used to think that I wanted to do something in the medical field. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be. It started with me going on this co-op program. So they had at a school, it's called HOSA, and you get to go into the actual hospital, and we could follow the doctors around and do different areas of the hospital. So I got to see a baby being born. We got to see a bunch of emergency room cases, overdoses. The thing that got me, and I said, no, I'm not doing this, is the physical therapist wanted me to clean a bed sore. And I was like, no, thank
Nope.
you. That is not my spot. And so she kind of directed me in the way of dentistry. And that's where it started.
Very cool. And where did you work as a chairside assistant for 14 years?
So Dr. Ronald Stewart, which he is right across the street from our practice here now. So I worked for him for 14 years, and he was very patient, very good teacher. And I just kind of got thrown into the fire. His assistant that was there, she was absent a lot. So I got to just sit down and this is what you're going to do. So he instructed me through most of the process of learning how to become a dental assistant. And then at that time, you were grandfathered in, you didn't have to take classes or anything. So I took my boards and became certified, registered, and all that stuff through him. And it was just a test that you had to take.
What inspired you to move on from there to go to dental hygiene school?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to do more than just chairside assisting. The hygiene department looked really interesting and fun, like more one-on-one patient relationships instead of having to sit with the dentist all day long. You actually got to know the patient a little bit better and just build a different kind of relationship with them than you did when there was another person in the room actually getting to have a conversation and do that. So I decided to do hygiene. He kept trying to push me to become a dentist. And I was like, there's no way. I don't want the overhead. I don't want to deal with employees. Yeah. So I took the easy route.
And how did you arrive at Dr. Williamson's practice?
I knew of her through a friend, and I knew she had a really good practice. And at the time she didn't need a hygienist. She already had one. She'd been with her for a long time. And I thought, well, I'm just going to drop off my resume anyways, in case something happens. And I was actually temping a lot after I got out of hygiene school. And I was going to take a job for a lady in Dallas. And I had just prayed and prayed, like, I do not want to be at this office. Can you please open something closer to me and not in Dallas with all the traffic? And she called and she was just like, I have your resume here. I'm looking to change my office. And I wanted to know if you were still available. And I was like, oh, yeah, a lot of people don't believe in fate or God, but that's what I do. And I was like, well, God wants me there. And so that's what happened. She actually didn't get to do my interview. It was a really sad time for her because her dad ended up being diagnosed with cancer. I'd lost my dad the year before to cancer. And so I met with her front office administrator. She was the only front office person she had at that time. And so she actually did my interview and we talked a lot, but we kind of built our bond and I guess we kind of got strength from each other going through the hard times. So it was where I needed to be.
Great story. Very cool. When you look at the two different practices, what makes Dr. Williamson's practice different?
I think she just invests so much in us and her patients. You can just tell she cares more about what's going on in the patient's life medically. She tries to delve into why are things happening instead of just let's fix it or let's put a patch on it. She wants to know, why are you getting cavities? What can we do to help you with your sleep? It's just so many other aspects, more than just dentistry. So I think that's the biggest thing, is she tries to look at the whole picture and not just what can we fix now.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, I was talking yesterday with one of the Crown Council resource partners about that. The general attitude of Crown Council members and doctors that you are the front line of defense when it comes to overall health, whether it's just fixing a tooth problem. I feel like Crown Council doctors are moving away from that concern with overall health and taking care of patients from a healthy standpoint and making sure that it's not just a tooth that they're fixing, but
Right.
helping overall. So very cool. Hey, maybe you could talk a little bit about what you do or what you think you do that makes the biggest difference in your patients' lives, and how you connect with them, how you make your patients feel important and part of your practice. Can you share a little bit about that?
I don't really know. I mean, Dr. Williamson always says it's because I'm relatable, but we just tend to get talking. And I think that I don't describe things in a way that's telling them you have to do this. You have to, do that. I kind of get them involved in their treatment and lead them down a path of understanding this is why we do it this way, and this is why it's better for you. And it's all up to them if they want to do the treatment or not. But once they understand the outcomes of what we're doing and how good it is for them, then they kind of understand we have that their best interests in at heart. We're not just saying we're going to do this because of the money, or this is what you have to do because this is what we say you have to do. It's more getting them involved in their treatment and understanding that we want what's best for them, and this is going to be better for their overall health and total outcome than just, let me slap you in the chair and do a quick cleaning and I'll see you back in 6 months.
Right. I love that. Very good. And that takes a lot of training and work as a team. Would you say all the hygienists in your office feel that same way? Is that a part of your culture, or is that you specifically?
No, that's definitely part of our culture. We all three, there's 3 hygienists here. So we're all on the same page of what we need to do for our patients. And our patients know if they see any one of us that they're going to get treated the same way. We treat them like they're our family, and this is what we would do for somebody in our family. So we're going to do it for you, and we don't treat you any differently.
Nice. I asked Tanya and some of the TOPS team, what were some of the questions they asked you at Leadership Academy? And one of them was, what have you learned over your lifetime that can help maximize your productivity in the office? What are some things you do?
My biggest thing is just always being prepared for the patient. I want to make sure that everything is in the room that I'm possibly going to need. If we've talked about whitening in the past, have some trays or some alginate up in the cabinet if we need it. Everything's just always there. So I don't have to leave the room a lot, and I don't have to go ask a bunch of questions of other people. So we know, okay, if you need a filling, we can talk to you about the filling. We can see if there's time in our schedule. Maybe we can work it in. It's just always being prepared for that patient for the day. And that's what I always tell everybody. You have to do your chart reviews. You have to know what was told to them last time. If we have talked about bleeding every single time they come in, be ready to do a gingivitis therapy or scaling replaning, or just be prepared because you never know. They may say, yes, let's go ahead and do it. So you want to be able to get it done as quickly as you can.
Yeah. And will you tell everybody what you're doing today at the office? You are there, but you're not seeing patients. That's
Right.
an interesting thing. What's going on?
So she lets us have one day a month. We call it a reset day. And we actually get to come in, we get to restock, we get to do any updates in our programming. What else do? We order supplies if we need to order supplies. We all get on the same page. We have a little meeting, kind of recalibrate, make sure everybody's saying the same things and doing the same things, because we're always adding in new technology. So the microscopes are fairly new, 6 months, I think, is what we're going on now, actually using them. So just making sure that we're all on the same page as far as patient care, and making sure the office is all pretty much the same. All the rooms are stocked and the same.
What a great idea. I mean, because
Yeah.
that just gets lost in the hustle and bustle of every day. So what a smart thing to do. Very good. Another question that Tanya had me ask you is, how do you partner with your doctor to recommend treatment?
So the biggest thing is getting on the same page as her and knowing what she diagnoses most and what things look like. So if patients have big cracks in their teeth with silver fillings, knowing, okay, we're going to go the crown route. So kind of have all of that information ready for her before she ever comes in the room, and photos up on the TV screen. And we've already kind of pre-warmed, I guess you want to say, the patient, preheated the patient. So that way they're ready for her when she comes in. And when she says crown, they're not just totally shocked by, oh my gosh, I'm going to need a crown, because we've already talked through that a little bit.
Smart. Yeah, really smart. Jennifer, if you were going to go back, this is kind of a 2-part question. So is there anything that you would change along your path in dentistry, something that you wish you would, if you were to go back in time and warn young Jennifer, is there something you'd do different?
I don't know, because everything that I've done has led me to where I am. So
Right.
I don't see changing anything, because my assistant years were great. I learned a lot there. We did ortho. I would just say, for anybody coming in to get as much experience as you can, because even though I work here, I still will go sometimes to other places when we're off and temp and see what else is out there in the world of what are other offices doing, just because it shows me what I got here. I don't want to leave, first of all. And just what other dentists are out there saying, because there's so many that are there that are not educated in all of new technologies, and they don't know what's best for the patient. So just spread the knowledge too while you're out there, and help as many people as you can.
That's great. That's great advice. And that was kind of the second part to my question is, what advice would you give to maybe a young hygienist or somebody just starting in dentistry?
Just to know that what you learned in school is not all that's what's out there. Just always continue your education. That's the biggest thing, is she invests in us so much in continuing ed and just learning new things. Because whenever I was in hygiene school, we didn't talk about myofunctional therapy. I mean, there's so many departments out there, tongue ties, just different routes you can go. And hygiene isn't the only thing you can do, because there are other aspects of dentistry that a hygienist can practice in, where you don't even have to be in the office. You can do, like I said, the oral facial myofunctional therapy in a Zoom call, and help your patients that way too. It's just always learn. That's my biggest tip, is just always learn. Because even Dr. Williamson has had a lady come in and teach us how to use our Cavitrons correctly. They don't teach you that in school. They whip it out real quick and show you, but they're not used always the way it's meant to be used. And it just helps you in the long run to educate yourself.
I love that. Very good. I can, Jennifer, see by talking to you why Dr. Williamson won Best Doctor to Work For. Incredible team,
Right.
Surrounding herself with people like you. So thank you very much. Grateful to have you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was good to talk to you.
Hey, you too. Good luck with your reset day.
Thank you, Stuart.
Hey, bye.
Bye.